I'm ready because I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and this is the best setting to do it. Where I've been wanting to watch my favorite Disney animated movie film in a theater with 50 of my closest friends, all right? And it's not showing that, probably because of this splitter right here, and it's not going to show any of it. This is Disney Plus, and it's because it's not secure interface over here. So we're going to go to something else in my Plex server where I own this movie and I have bought this movie. But the downside here being that this movie is all the way in Los Angeles. So just FYI, no, I'm not searching for Plex. I'm searching for Moana. Oh, please don't fail me now. Because I want to show you my favorite parts of this film, and it's gonna work because I know this worked before, and I almost downloaded this offline to make sure it would work. It is tail scale. I have it all the way back, but again, the world has latency, and that's a weird fact of light. I don't know. Where are you? You want to see all my movies? This is great. Not Minions. That's not a good one. We're almost there, right? There it is. I missed it. See, I'm skipping past it. Okay. So I want to do this because now it's going to work. It better work because I don't care about any of that. Copy protection. I don't work there anymore. Transcoding on the fly. We got some hardware transcoding going. There we go. See, this is the thing. I wanted it to work. So I wanted to do this because has anyone watched a movie with like director commentary all the way through? A couple of people you're my friends. Also, I wanted to say one thing that I'm learning in this conference especially, that we're all in this together. We're all doing this together, and inclusivity is a great thing. And I know people learned about live captions in Google Slides the other day, which is awesome. It also works in stuff like an iPad, where it just listens to your microphone, and you get, I don't get it on the screen there. Oh my gosh, this is killing me. Wait, and that's because Stage Manager is garbage. Okay, it's not going to work now. I can see my text, just FYI, Tim. I see what I'm saying, but I don't think it's going to show up. If I switch over to this, does it show up? Nope, not that one. This one. Disney Plus is really making me mad right now. One more time. I want to see if the text shows up on there. It doesn't. I'm sorry, Tim. I was hoping that you would see the transcription there, too. There's that. Okay. Back to the movie. Okay. And I can't see it here, which is also cool. Thank you. All right. And hopefully you at least hear some of that. But I wanted to fast forward this and get all the transcoding to some of the hardest bits, which is going to be hard because I don't see the screen going. Some of my favorite things about this movie is two of the hardest things to render is water and smoke. And this movie is like 90% water and smoke. And this killed our data center. Oh, like just straight up, we had fans out there. It was amazing trying to get this movie done on time. And this was one of the coolest things I got to work on. I was like, wow, this is a really hard problem to solve for a lot of systems reasons and a lot of other things. My other favorite part of this movie, I'm going to fast forward to, I have it somewhere up here. We can watch it later if you want to catch up on the rest of it. If you haven't seen this, go watch it. It has a better soundtrack than Frozen, just saying. If you like Frozen, you just let it go and you're welcome. Okay, here's my other part, my favorite part of this movie. And I love this part because I play a game with myself. No one plays with me. But I look at credits of movies and I take out all of the names and I just leave the departments. And if you look at the credits of a movie with just the list of departments, I can almost guarantee you, I can tell you what that movie's like. I can tell you because it's Conway's Law. They literally ship their org charts. At the end of every movie, there's 20 minutes. This is everybody that works here. And this is the department, and these are their titles. And you can go look at a Marvel film, and it's 30 different companies because all of them are microservices building this little thing to do something else together. This is coming up. So here we go, software infrastructure. This is my favorite part of credits, right? There's technology people doing this stuff, and most people don't even know they exist, and that's actually great. Wait, here it is, this favorite part. Hold on. Yes, there it is right there. Best part right here, right? My favorite part of the movie. I never thought it would happen, and not only that, but like freaking Linux. Right, in a Disney film, right? I didn't even know that was there. I'm just like, huh? You do that? And yeah, you can do it too. And that was so cool. I was there working on this film. And the other thing, this background here, most people don't know about it. This is what's called tapa, or bark paper, or bark cloth. It's something they make on islands before they had woven clothing. Before Europeans came, they would take tree bark and strip it down, and they would go take it on a rock and beat it with wood hammers while it was wet for hours. And they would stretch this little, like, 6-inch, I don't know how many centimeters that is, I'm sorry, about this wide, and it would become about 2 meters wide. They would pound this thing thinner and thinner and thinner, and then they turn it into cloth, and then they wear it. And they dye it, and it looked amazing. And at the end of this film, a bunch of the producers and stuff, I didn't get to go, they all went out to these islands, and some of the tribes actually gave them some of this cloth because it was a show of, we respect what you're doing, and we appreciate that you're telling our story, and we did this work to give you this thing that took a long time. This was like days of work to give you this roll of cloth that was amazing. And I felt that way every time I gave one of my developers a Linux server. I was like, I bashed on this so much. This server is perfect now, and they never thanked me once. But that's okay, I got the credit for it. And that's what I want to talk to you about, which isn't, the movie's great. Again, go watch it. I love it. But there's other things when this switches, should get a terminal. Man, that's a long delay. I don't know why. I still don't have text, right? I see my text here. No live dictation. Cool. That's fine. Sorry, Tim. I know. I'm trying. I really tried. I found out about that feature. I enabled it, and now I can't get it off my screen. Cool. And it's right in, you don't see, it's like right in the middle of me. I like see my text. Like, go away. Anyway, let's just slide it. Yeah, I know. Siri, stop. Okay. So what I want to talk about is more Linux. Like, Moana's cool, and I love it. And I'll tell you one other cool thing about it later. But let's talk about that's showing, right? Okay. So let's say you all have SSH into a server before. I'm assuming if you're in this room, you probably know how to SSH in a server. And let's walk through what it's like. And so if I think I have the first one here. Yeah, the 111. And I get this all the time where here's a list of hosts. We need you to do something on it. And I'm like, okay. Everyone accepts that. It's okay. Like, it's not trying to steal your data. Therefore, everyone accepts it. We're all in the same boat. Yes, we trust it. Okay. What's the first command you'll run on a server? Sudo. You see if you can sudo, right? You're like, can I do this? Yeah, I did root. So I'm assuming I'm good. I don't think there's anyone else. What's the first command you run? LS? You just like, where am I? With PSAUX. The first thing I always do out of habit is cat OS release. Because I have no friggin' idea. I was like, who set up this box? It's an IP address. I don't know what's on here. I just want to know something about it. And I never remember the Ubuntu like names. It was like the numbat. Okay. I don't know what version. It's like, I'll remember, okay, this is 2404. Someone just deployed this, right? This isn't in production yet because only the 2004 boxes are. But okay, so we got somewhere we're using something modern. And the next thing I usually am going to do something is like, you name -A just to see in general, because sometimes I'm weird and I know what kernels some of these things should be on. I'm like, oh, actually, you just needed an apt upgrade and you're fine. And then I'm probably going to install Vim. It's like just the 3 stages of what I'm going to do is just where we're at. And all of those steps, like we've all been there. We're all trying to either troubleshoot or get something up ready faster. And sometimes we're like, okay, I know the steps now. I know what I want to do. So now I'm going to automate it. And let's all be honest with ourselves. What's automation? It's just faster typing, right? Like it's more reliable, faster typing, and more people can do it. You like hired someone. When you run your first bash script or Ansible playbook, you're like, wow, 10 servers just did that. I'm typing on all of them, right? The old me just did that, and that's amazing. It's a great feeling to automate that stuff. And I'm old enough as a sysadmin to know the saying that you try to automate yourself out of a job. Right? That was the goal was automating yourself out of a job. My new goal is to replace the things that need automation. If the process doesn't need to exist, it shouldn't exist. And that is where a lot of things have not gone. And a lot of automation has happened and people just gone with the status quo. What? Packer and Cloud Init, they're fine. The automation, the typing has been reliable enough that it's fine, but it's not actually getting us to the goal. So to show that, second box here, let me make sure it's a second box. Yeah, it's a different IP address, so it should be fine. What if we remove, actually, no, that wasn't the thing. Hold on a second. I gotta go, is it in here? Let's do LS. No, I didn't do it. One sec. Network. I'm online. I know I'm streaming stuff. Actually, this is connected to my computer in LA, which has uploaded a file to a server in London. Sometimes we do this to ourselves sometimes. But yeah, I'm in the right. SCP. I can't type right now. That's the whole point of this talk. If this doesn't work, then we're done. Skip the time. It's all right. We'll get there. I don't know why it's not. Oh, why didn't anyone tell me I don't have host exported? It was the 111. Yeah, it's just sitting there. Root at what? What are you talking about? That's not my fault. See, thanks. This is why we pair program. What did I miss? 83, huh? That is the right. There we go. See, that's it. I didn't expect. All right, we're good. What? That was 100%. All right, I just thought it was 0. We're okay. Excuse me. So what if we replace all of that typing with APIs? What if we just put an API on top of Linux? And APIs are fantastic. Everyone loves an API. I'm like, but don't touch my shell. All right? Don't touch SSH. That has to be sacred. I'm like, no, like, it's a system. What are you doing? Like, you can take APIs and do anything you want to them. We know how APIs work. They have all these benefits of being declarative, and we can statically define them and see what they can do, and we can control the data in and out of them, and we can scale them up. We can do all this stuff to APIs, and everyone's like, I need a Linux box. I'm like, yeah, but what if it was a shell? Or what if it was API? So if we do something like, I need to export that host again, and it was 111, there we go. Because I'm not going to remember the rest of it. Host. So what if we do something like that? And J is just an alias for JQ. And then we can call that API. There we go. And we can do that stuff, right? We can do the things that, for me, that I normally like, I want to get this information. And I don't actually need a socket connected to a TTY connected to it. I don't need to do that dance. I can get the information from APIs just like we normally would from any API that exists. And I can even extend that, right? I could do things like, let's look at packages. A lot of freaking packages. I don't know why they're all in there, but they're there. And we could do things, let's say we have we want to change things, right? This isn't a read-only API. Like, we can do the verbs of the web, and we can do things like, I have to look up my history on this because, we can submit this to the API and say, I want you to change these packages, and it should do stuff for us, right? That's what APIs do. It's just like, go do that thing. The packages, and again, actually, I didn't say this. AI wrote this whole demo. If nothing works, it's completely the AI's fault. But this is the idea of what we can do, but this is a terrible idea. Here, all you say, I would never replace all of Linux with APIs, because then you're like reproducing file paths and doing all this nonsense. You're like, okay, but what if the API was smaller? What if the Linux thing that we actually want, what if the actual system only had one purpose? In that case, we could just reduce the surface area of the API entirely. We're like, actually, I don't need everything as a file. I need everything that I need to do as an API. I don't think packages is ever going to come back. It's fine, stupid AI. APIs also are great at abstractions. And one thing you could do is you can just say like a Kubernetes endpoint. It's not installed, right? So you could do things like install Kubernetes. Right? Like, that's the interface that I want. Failed because apt is still hung up on the other one, right? This is okay. It's AI. But this is the idea of what if we could reuse APIs and we know how to send data, we know how to read data. That is the great part about APIs. Now, apply that to an actual good operating system that AI didn't write, okay? Just pretend. So there's all the errors from apt failing. And you could even abstract this, right, on top of multiple distros. Like, you're recreating config management, right? Don't do it. Don't general purpose this API on top of it. Please, that's not the lesson learned here. The lesson to be learned is reduce the thing that you want the Linux to do, right? Take it and make single purpose Linux distros. And in this case, at SREday, we made is only for running Kubernetes, and it's only APIs. There's no shell, there's no bash. You do everything through an API. So if I want to say, get my install this on a host, I have a Talos control is just a wrapper for basically curl, but it's a gRPC API. Who cares? Nope, I need it in there for node, where I'm going, and I'm going to say insecure because I don't have certificates. And I can just go call out and say, hey, what disks do you have? Give me some information about them. And then I can spec out a more featureful API, again, single purpose to Kubernetes. That looks something like this. What type of machine should you be? What certificates do you have? Kubernetes needs a lot of weird stuff that you don't typically expect to find, but you could say like pod subnets, service subnets. Is this still scrolling? I'm making sure that it didn't freeze because I still see my text over here. But that works to do something like control plane. This is just doing a curl post. Here's your data. You configure your machine. And that's it. It submitted all of that data, and it's a single purpose machine. It knows what the API should do. It knows what it can do, and now it's going to do the work. Let me configure my local config to use it, and then we could say something like t bootstrap t dashboard. This is just an API. I'm not remoted into it. There's no user on the other end. There's no SSH keys. There's no bash. This is streaming this data from, from London to LA back to London to show you what we can do. And in this case, again, it's single purpose, and we can limit all of that API service down to something that is easier to maintain and manage and get rid of the fast typing. Like I didn't have any automation here. The automation that I needed was built in here, but most of that is done with declarative controllers, which are just fancy names for fast typing and loops. Right? We're just doing that stuff over and over again, but because we can constrain what you would want to do with the system, we can make it more reliable, we can make it faster to do a lot of different things. And a lot of people come to us and say, I have to have SSH still. You could do all that stuff, but I have to have it for the things of troubleshooting, right? The things of, I don't know what's going on. And again, I would like to say that APIs are wonderful. Things like netstat. You're like, I need that. Here you go. Here's an API that does that. For people that know netstat is deprecated, SS, right? Like same command. Things like dmessage. Just give me the logs. I just want logs out of that machine. How do I get those things? Again, APIs are wonderful at doing that, and making single purpose distros that aren't shell-based and aren't automation-based, getting rid of the automation is a beautiful thing. We have been doing it at SREday, but this isn't an us game. This is we want this to exist. Cozy, as the title of this portion of the talk, is our spec that we've been using to build this. And we would love more people to also get involved and make something for yourself. If you need something that's not Kubernetes, we have created this spec as a way to help you see what we did. Not for everyone, but it's extendable, where you can have your own plugins to do your own things. Cozy is the thing that, for me, if I didn't work at SREday, if something happened, like I want that to exist. As a sysadmin, as a Linux nerd, I want that spec, that thing that like reduces all the automation to keep existing. And that is a team effort. They just popped. The last thing that I also want to point out was back to Moana. This is my favorite movie, again, because of all those things that I was talking about, but also because it's not showing. So I'm just black screen. It's fine. I went to the wrap party for it. If you don't know, wrap parties are for the crew, the people that made the movie. Premieres are for the cast, the people that got paid. The talent of the movie go to premieres, the crew go to wrap parties. And so it's a bunch of mostly movie nerds sitting in a room watching a cartoon together. And it's fantastic. It's still great. But it's cool sometimes when the cast shows up. Moana is the only Disney princess that was the same age. Hey, we're back. Whatever. was the same age as her character in the movie when the movie came out. No, don't play. She turned 16 the week the movie came out. And she came to the wrap party. She sat 2 rows behind me with her mom. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Moana. I was like, Aoli. Aoli is this fantastic person. And I was like, she's so talented. That's so great. She did all the singing, all this stuff in the movie. At the very end, a big party. I'm sitting there with my wife, and I see this line start wrapping around the side of the hall. I'm like, oh, Moana's meeting people. Like, Aoli's over there. Like, she's spending time. Like, no one, anyone that has ever come to her, cast member that comes, they leave right afterwards. They're like, I saw the movie, we're good, I'm out. She stuck around. And so I got in line. I'm waiting there, and we're there for 15, 20 minutes, and we get up to the front. I was like, wow, I was like, you did such an amazing job. And she immediately just said, no, we did an amazing job. And I just about broke down. I was like, you don't know what I do. You didn't ask me about Kubernetes. You didn't know the Linux servers. You didn't do any of that stuff. She said, no, we did a great job. And I was just like how? This isn't an individual sport. This isn't a thing that one person, even if they are the talent, even if they did an amazing job, this wasn't them. This was this list of thousands plus people. Like, this is everyone that did it. And this SRE community is the community that's going to push forward to make the next wave, to get rid of some of that automation, to get rid of the bash scripts and the things that catch fire and break easily, and move us into something else that gets, just, again, don't automate yourself out of a job, eliminate the process that doesn't need to be automated. Thank you.
Questions?
We also have a booth, so if you want to talk. Yeah, what's up?
Thank you. Could you please explain extended logic around a Talos CTL upgrade command and why it's separated from API? You can specify image which you want to install in configuration file, but you also have to specify it again when you run exactly explicitly upgrade.
Specifying the, so you can do like in-place upgrades to like, hey, I'm out of time. An upgrade can be, I want to change the current version with extensions in different configuration, and I want to do things with a new image, because the way you install something in Talos, at least, is you have those extensions that add drivers, they add services, they do other things, and you can do that without changing the version. Just, I don't actually want to go with new versions, I want a new image. And then you also could go to a new version that the new version has those changes. So it depends on what you're doing, but you can, if there's details.
I just slightly confused when you're installing Talos Linux first time. You just apply configuration file and it gets downloaded this image and apply it, write it down into the disk.
Yeah.
But if you want to upgrade it somehow, you first need to upgrade to apply configuration file. It will not upgrade it itself by itself. So you need to explicitly run this upgrade command again. I just slightly confused about this API logic.
Making assumptions for people. So we're going to break up that install logic, because right now we do make an assumption that you want the current version. And so the installer is tied to the version you booted off of. We'll move that in the future so that you can jump versions during the install and not make that assumption. But during the upgrade, if you apply the config and you don't expect it to reboot, that's a bad thing. We want to make sure that's safe. So you can apply config changes. Not every config change requires a reboot. And so separating those out as 2 steps of, I want to change the config and I want to upgrade and actually reboot the machine on a different version of the operating system. We just wanted to be clear on how that flow should work for someone to, I applied a new config, why did my server just reboot? Because some things in that config shouldn't reboot the box. But that's, yeah.
Got it. May I have a second question? Didn't you consider to split one single Talos configuration file to multiple resources, like in Kubernetes?
Yeah, we do. There's certain things that are broken out. We have multi-doc support for various things. Not everything is broken out yet.
Any other questions? So they have a booth. You can stop by and ask anything later. Anything.